And welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. I know it's been probably a couple of weeks since the last episode, and I apologize for that. Between being busy and dealing with migraines and other issues, it has been very difficult to get things done that I wanted to do. Plus, I do have a lot of things that I'm doing, and it seems like I'm kind of behind on all of them anymore right now these days. But I'm back at it, and what we need to do is, if you'll recall, some time ago, the first mission to Duna, we ended up with Jebediah trapped on the planet, his ship tipped over, and not enough fuel to even lift off and make orbit, let alone be able to burn for home. So, it's time to attempt a rescue mission. What I'm going to do here is try to build a ship that can hold 4 Kerbals, using the 3-man pod and this pod from this is a single-man pod from the Orbital Rendezvous and Docking Assistance mod. Won't be orbital rendezvousing or docking with it, but it will serve to provide an extra place to carry a crew in that needs to be rescued. So, fit a trio of parachutes on the main capsule, which I'm hoping will make up for not having a big one in the center. Come to think of it, let's go ahead and put one here as well, just to make sure. Okay. Decoupler. And let's see. I think having some RCS fuel is a good idea. And of course, the large size advanced SAS. And the lander stage, return stage, that should be enough. Let's see. Okay. That looks like it should be good. Let's get some engines on here, and I'm going to use a pair of these atomic Nerva engines. Which 2 of these should be ample delta V to get off the surface of Duna. Alright, let's see, we need our fuel line. Yeah, that will take care of that. Let's see, we need lander legs. Alright. There. This should do quite a bit right there. Just, it'll be able to land, and with the engines being on side mounted like this, there won't be an issue with lander legs not being long enough to clear the engine on landing. Let's see. I think we need some struts on here to strengthen this. Particularly here. Let's take care of that. And honestly, with two of these engines on this whole thing right here, it should actually have a shot at being able to take off from Kerbin. Of course, there is another issue. Let's see. All right. Let's see. That needs to go into a stage by itself, these two parachutes. Because they will be activated on entry into Duna atmosphere, and they will be used to help the rocket engines, which are very fuel efficient but don't have a heck of a lot of thrust. They will help the thing slow down for a safe landing on Duna. Alright, let's see. Let's call this Interplanetary Rescue Lander 1. And just as a quick test, let's run out to the launch pad and see how she handles under Kerbin gravity. Okay, and we have Ludlow, Kerman, Bill Kerman, and Welsherby Kerman as our test pilots, and probably our interplanetary rescue pilots. And let's see, let's start with throttle off and see how this works here. First, let's try the landing gear. A little shaky, but it stands up. That's good. Now let's fire up the engines and see if we can lift off on Kerbin gravity. Apply increasing thrust. Okay, this is not going to lift off on Kerbin gravity until it's used most of the fuel. But that's alright. Now let's test the rest of this to make sure I've got my staging right. Cut the engines and hit the parachutes. These two are active now. Or are they? It looks like it. Well, in any event, we'll have to end the flight back to the VAB and build enough on this to give it an actual local test flight on Kerbin. Alright. Now, another decoupler on here. Got a large fuel tank. Or two. Main engine. And I think for this test, just throw some solid boosters on here to help get this thing off the ground. Let's see. Our staging in the right order. Let's light the main at the same time as the boosters. Okay. Alright. I think this should be good for a test. Let's throw on the stability enhancers. And we'll just throw a dash T on there for test. Save that, head out to the launch pad. Alright, we have our crew back. And so let's launch this thing and see how it performs locally before we try sending it to another planet. And lift off. Four solid rocket boosters seem to be quite sufficient for getting it off the ground. Good. Booster separation. Trying to fix that spin that we had. Angling over some more. Flight looks good so far. Okay. Now we go for separation here. Nuclear engines take over. Let's cut our thrust a bit, have a look at our profile here. Alright. Okay. How's our apoapsis? About 48. Climbing slowly. But it's climbing. That's the main thing. Let's get a little bit more pitch. Back on our 90 degrees. See where we're coming down. I'd like to bring this out far enough to be coming down on land. It should be over this way. Right at apoapsis. Let's pitch fully horizontal here. See if we can stretch ourselves over to come down on land. And the idea here is to attempt a soft landing with this thing. Of course, maybe it might be better to try doing that in the ocean. Let's see here. Think about that a second. Might as well. Can't freaking see anything over there because it's night. And we're losing altitude anyway. Okay. Cut the engine. Pitch the other direction and begin braking. This will be a mock landing trial. We are now braking. Like we're coming in for a landing because, really, we are. Low enough for the parachutes to deploy, so we'll activate that. There they go. Turn off SAS, just let the parachutes steer us now. Using the drive to kill our velocity. Landing gear deployed. I know we're coming down on water and it doesn't matter, but still. Coming down awfully heavy, but we're awfully fast. Still, this looks promising. We're getting this much braking under Kerbal gravity, which means I think under Duna gravity this will be excellent. And the parachutes haven't fully deployed yet. And they're about to very soon. Now I maintain just enough engine thrust to keep our descent rate at less than 10 meters a second. Because the ship is too heavy for the parachutes to completely slow it down. But with the engines running to help it out, we'll have a safe touchdown speed. Cut our velocity a little bit more. Safe touchdown. Engine off. Alright, this is excellent. This lander will be something we can send to Duna to rescue Jebediah. Alright, end the flight. See about building a ship that can take this thing to Duna.